Welcome back. She's an award-winning journalist who began her career in 2000 here in Nigeria. But having been isolated for 2 years in the United States, she found new purpose in life. Hear her story.
I went to the U.S. to cover the United Nations 60th Anniversary and General Assembly in 2005. But before that, I'd been married to somebody, it's a Nigerian too, traditionally, where our families meet. And when I went on that trip, we decided that we should meet face to face because this person too had never met him face to face. Although we've been talking, we were introduced by a mutual friend, and the friend was more like a family member because we're so close to them. But when I got to the US and I did my assignments, I met with him, he decided to ask me to stay back. He begged me, his family begged me to stay, and because we already had traditional marriage, I was asked to stay and I stayed behind, not knowing that I was going to stay to an event that would almost cost my life. At first, everything was rosy, everything was fine. He even got me a desktop computer to file my stories back home, and I was writing stories for my then New Age newspapers. And what I noticed was as soon as I became pregnant, his attitude just changed from this pleasant person to somebody that became a total stranger. And before I knew it, I found out that I'm just at home. He told me initially to be patient, that things could take a little bit of time. I just need to be patient while things fall into place. But you know, the patience was being prolonged for a very, very long time. Nothing was happening. He wasn't doing anything. Instead, I noticed that I was isolated. I couldn't go out at will. And in Minnesota, there is public transportation, but the public transportation is really, really different from what we have in Lagos. It's not a state where, you know, you can just catch the bus to go anywhere. In some places, you have to wait like an hour for the next bus to come. So if you don't drive or you don't have a car, you will be stranded. And in my case, I didn't know how to drive. I didn't have a car. Even though he had 2 cars, I was stranded in the house, just peeping through the window for 2 years. And sometimes I'm not even able to eat what I wanted or even eat what I craved as a pregnant woman. All I was doing was to be braiding hair. And I got to start braiding hair whenever we went to church and I saw an African woman or African American. I would say that I could braid hair, and they would give me, I would give them my number, and they would call to come to the house and have their hair braided. So when you saw that...
So you never left the house?
No, I don't leave the house. Only when he takes me out. That's when I left the house. The other times that he didn't take me out, that I left the house, was when somebody came to pick me. And that somebody that came to pick me was like somebody that knew him or a church member. Or there was a time a journalist actually came to pick me when a Nigerian, actually the pro bono lawyer that helped Aminat Lawal, the woman that was going to be stoned to death for adultery, when she came to Minnesota for a conference, a local reporter there connected with me and came to pick me. That was when he let me go out. Other than that, I'm not able to go out by myself. Where we lived was in the suburbs, so I was just trapped.
And what did it feel like being, you know, locked up in a house for up to 2 years? What did it feel like for you?
I knew something was wrong because that wasn't me. As a journalist, I was the head of the desk at New Age newspaper as the education reporter. And I was working 7 days a week. I was like the workaholic, so to speak. It felt like I was in prison. You know, in this situation, I couldn't even go out. I couldn't do anything other than just stay in the house. It got to the point where it felt like I'm like the prisoner, and this prison warden is following me everywhere I went. And even after I got rescued, for months, I still had that thing with me. Like sometimes I would just stop abruptly and look and then say, oh, okay, I'm by myself. It's not here with me. Where we were living, people look at it like, oh, brand new house. This girl is enjoying. She's in a brand new house. But I wasn't enjoying. They didn't know how I was crying inside to run away with them sometimes, but because of trust. And that's why the trust is really important. For us to help, we have to build trust and stop blame, because most of the time when people hear something, the first thing they do is to blame you first. Blame you. Oh, you know, you were so stupid. I had somebody that told me that, oh, you were so stupid, you gave yourself cheaply to the man. But fast forward 2 years after, this same person was calling me for help because her husband almost killed her in the house.